Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we have Alan James that's with us today. Alan is a member of American Legion Post 214 here in Taylors. And Alan was a Navy corpsman, but he was assigned to the Marines, and he served with the Marines in Vietnam. Alan, tell me in your own words what it means to be a veteran.
That's a good question. Yeah. Of course, you know, most people think of veteran as being anybody that's been in a position for a long time, working or sports or whatever like that. But I think of a veteran as someone who has answered the call of his nation, worn the uniform, and fought for the flag of America. And in that light, the veteran community is unique because it's an opportunity for veterans of any branch of the service to get together with people that have had the same experiences and share their stories and band together in order to help other veterans. So that's what I think of when I think about it.
Very good. Alan, you served with the Marines in Vietnam. What years were you in Vietnam?
I was in Vietnam 1968 and 69. Interesting story, if I might.
Sure, go ahead.
I joined the Navy in order to get out of Vietnam. And I joined the Navy in order to enter the medical corps and ride out the Vietnam War on an aircraft carrier in the Mediterranean Sea. And that was my plan. But unfortunately, they didn't tell me that the Marines don't have medical people, that they draft them from the Navy, they borrow them from the Navy. So my first set of orders out of training was Marine Corps Base, Quantico, Virginia. And I said, what? Surely there must be a mistake. And well, there wasn't a mistake, so I spent most of my time with the Marines. Went to Vietnam in 1968 and was assigned to Bravo Company, 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines, which was actually a grunt outfit, an infantry outfit, operating in the mountains way up in the northern part of South Vietnam. And so that was my introduction to the Marine Corps in combat. And so I spent a year with them, and it was a fun time, but it was also a time that changed my life. I wouldn't change it for anything right now.
Well, tell us about your tour in Vietnam. I know you received the Purple Heart, and you received several other awards as are indicated on your chest there. And certainly we appreciate your service to the nation. But tell us, you know, about your year in Vietnam, what action you saw, and you know, what went on with your year in Vietnam.
I think as most Vietnam veterans would tell you, the year in Vietnam, there was a lot of downtime, a lot of boredom, but they were punctuated with moments of sheer terror. And we operated, like I say, up in the mountains. We didn't have the rice paddies. We didn't have the booby traps. We fought against a well-trained North Vietnamese Army, regular, well-equipped. And since we operated just a couple miles south of the DMZ, we were real close to receiving a lot of incoming and artillery from the north. Most of the time our job was to patrol these mountains and rout out any enemy groups that might be there, might be forming in that area. We did that pretty steadily for the first 6 months I was there. Occasionally we would get into some pretty heavy skirmishes with the North Vietnamese, usually over some nondescript piece of ground that really didn't mean anything, and at the cost, unfortunately, of many Marines being wounded and killed in my unit. But my job was to basically provide medical care on a daily basis and also deal with the casualties of conflict. So,
How was the medical evacuation there? I know the Army had medical evac hospitals set up, and then they had ships, medical ships, Navy ships off the coast that if you had like a head wound or a thoracic wound, they would evacuate the wounded directly from the field to the ship. How was the medical evacuation for the Marines?
well, it was pretty much the same way. We had the option of calling in choppers, medevac choppers, helicopters to evacuate. That was one of the things that made the real difference, I think, in Vietnam as opposed to previous conflicts, was the quickness that we could get to the wounded. And so we would prioritize the wounded according to their injury, and then just pick up the phone and call for a medical evacuation. And they would be there in a little bit to pick them up. We'd put them on the chopper, and they would fly away. So.
As I noted previously, you received the Purple Heart for being wounded. Could you tell us a little bit about the action that took place where you received the wound?
Well, there was just one particular big battle, which was probably the salient feature of the whole year for me. And all I received was just a very minor shrapnel wound. It wasn't anything that would amount to anything. It didn't even require being evacuated or anything like that. And so we just did our jobs. I mean, basically, we had a 3-day battle that lasted about 3 days, 72 hours, I believe. And we had a company of about 120. And if I recall, we had about 54 or 55 casualties in that 3-day period. So I was really busy. I mean, we were all busy. All the corpsmen, all the Marines were busy. We lacked sleep and food and water for that period of time. And it was just frantic trying to get everybody cared for. We had a casualty clearing area where all the guys were brought in, and we had to monitor them and triage them and call in the appropriate evacuations. So,
Is there one memory that sticks out particular in your mind as far as your tour in Vietnam?
that hill, it's called Hill 461, and I think everything else my whole year there pales in comparison to that, and that's been with me, ever since then. And the nice thing is that through organizations like the American Legion and the 3rd Marine Division Association, several of us that served together in that battle are able to get together on an annual basis. Somewhere we go around the different places in the United States and have a reunion every year, and that helps. And then just getting involved in organizations like the American Legion, being able to camaraderie with other veterans who had similar experiences, be able to share your stories. Sometimes you can be in a room with, as you know, other Vietnam vets, and not a word is said. But it's the greatest camaraderie you ever had, just because you know that each other's been through the same experiences. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
You talked about having downtime. What did y'all do with your downtime?
Mostly prepare. If we were in the field, it was mostly running routine medical clinic for the troops. Occasionally, I would go into a village and maybe help one of the physicians with treating some of the kids there. Usually skin problems, and give immunizations and things like that. But mostly, it was just to prepare for the next set of orders the next time we were ordered to move out.
Very good. Alan, we certainly appreciate you sharing your memories with us and your experiences with us. Again, our aim here is to show people by way of YouTube the experiences of the American soldier, and certainly your experience in Vietnam, and we certainly appreciate it. All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Pleasure.